Good morning, everyone. Myself, Abdul Halim Shaikh, Assistant Professor at the Department of English, Jyotindra Rajendra Mahavidyalaya, Murshidabad, West Bengal. At the beginning of my second presentation, I would like to convey my heartfelt greetings to the Honorable Director of Faculty Induction Program, SIDC, Aligarh Muslim University, for giving me this special privilege to present my lecture. I have chosen the poem "Where the Mind is Without Fear" from the Food for Thought section, which we have been given for the presentation. I have chosen this poem for the love of Tagore, and also I believe that this poem is rich with ideas which are very much relevant in today's condition. Before discussing the poem, I would like to give a very brief introduction to the poet Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, who is dearly loved in India and abroad, and who is called Vishwakavi in Bengali, the poet of the world. And very few poets are so lucky to be loved by the entire mankind of the world. So Tagore is the great Renaissance personality and the maker of modern Indian mind. He has shaped Indian literature. Rabindranath Tagore is not only a poet, he is a novelist, dramatist, short story writer. He is a composer of songs. He is a painter, and he is an educationist, and he has a great interest for science and philosophy and rural development, and great interest he had in the upliftment of the poor people. So, the great humanist who loved mankind and nature equally. The poet was born in 1861 and he lived for 80 years, died in 1941. He has a great achievement in the field of literature. At the same time, he had also contributed for Indian freedom and for the spread of education. He established the Vishwabharati University for the unification of world culture. He is the first non-European to be awarded Nobel Prize in Literature for his translation of Bengali poems into a volume called Gitanjali in 1913. Rabindranath Tagore bridged the East with the West. He brought the message of India to the West. He is in line with the rishis, the sage poet of India, who believed in the unification of mankind. Rabindranath Tagore was very much active in Indian politics. He vigorously launched campaign against the division of Bengal declared by Lord Curzon in 1905, and due to his protest and all people of all community, Hindus and Muslims, they come together and fought against this decision of the government, which was finally withheld by the government. And the most important incident in Tagore's life is that he refused the knighthood in protest of Jallianwala Bagh massacre in 1919. Let's discuss the poem, the main ideas and thoughts of the poem. Where the mind is without fear, though anthologized in the book Gitanjali, which is famous for piety, bhakti, and spiritual matters, but this poem is completely different in subject and theme. The poem Gitanjali number 35 is a patriotic poem which is dedicated to the country India. The poet has expressed his own vision about his homeland. The poet has drawn a picture of idealized free country that would be the heaven of freedom. So, and the poem is very much relevant even in today's condition, because he was the great lover of freedom. The poem begins with that, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. The poem was written in 1910. So when India was under the bondage of British rule, then Indian people had little confidence in themselves. They suffered from inferiority complex. They were under the boots of the British imperialist police forces. So naturally, they had little faith in themselves. The poet says that we would like to create a nation where people would be absolutely free from any fear, and they all should have dignity of life. They would not bend down to the authority. They would live a free life, free from the fear of autocratic and the British imperialist rulers. Which we can also say that in today's condition, in a democratic India, in our country, people should live a dignified, noble, free life, and they should exercise their own political and democratic rights. Rights should be intact for everyone. Everyone should lead an equal life, just life. And then he says that where knowledge is free. So he advocated for knowledge, that every Indian people should have access to knowledge, education and learning. He was the great lover of knowledge, because knowledge, he said, education is the backbone of a nation. So he strongly demands that knowledge should be spread to the every corners of Indian society. And where the world has not been broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls. This point is very important. Most unfortunately, India was divided at the time of Indian independence into two parts, India and Pakistan. But Tagore didn't dream of such division. He couldn't endure perhaps the partition of India. He dreamed the future as an unified India. He said that the people of all religions, all castes, should live in harmony, should live in peaceful coexistence, and they should respect each other's culture, their practices, their language, their customs, their ways of food habits, and everything. That these are the false, artificial differences. So people cannot be discriminated. He was against the provincialism, against regional politics. He said that India should be an integral whole. It would be unified one. So the people should not create false divisions and discrimination among themselves. He said that India should be powerful one. So where the world has not been broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Through this phrase, narrow domestic walls, he particularly refers to the prejudices, religious prejudices and superstitious ideas and parochiality and the divisions of languages and manners of and the communal disharmony of the people. So he advocated for the peaceful coexistence and integrity of the country. It would be a nation where all the countrymen would be genuine, sincere and who would strive to achieve truthfulness, who would believe in the supremacy of truth, Satyameva Jayate, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Tagore hated the idea of idleness. Throughout his life, he devoted himself to the achievement of some newer things. So he believed that the people of this country, idealized country, should never indulge in idleness. They would engage in the achievement of newer things. They would extend their hands for the enrichment, for the prosperity, and for the ever widening path to the horizon. In the next line, he talks about the steady flow of reason, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. He was a man of reason, and he believes that the scientific approach to life is the only solution to many superstitions and diseases of society. He believes that people should be educated and they should respect the reason, and they would not believe in the dead habits and superstitious practices of everyday life. So they should lead a life of reason and logic. And at the end of the poem, the poet fervently made a prayer to the God of the country that he should himself lead the people of the country to the heaven of freedom. So this is a piece of prayer to the God of the country. Tagore makes a robust prayer for the prosperity and freedom of that idealized country.